Ladies and gentlemen, in the red corner we've got Battlefield 3 coming in at 120 pounds. In the blue corner we have Battlefield 4 coming in at 122 bugs. Wait, what? So today we're actually going to be talking about Battlefield 3 versus Battlefield 4. And I honestly wanted to make this video. I was kind of waiting on Battlefield 4 to clear out a little bit because I wanted to go into it trying to compare them as equal as possible. You know what I mean? I've been upset with Battlefield 4. Many of you guys have been upset with Battlefield 4. To me, up to this point, Battlefield 4 has been about as fun as cleaning cum out of your knuckle hair. You know what I mean? It's just not been very, very exciting. It's kind of, you know, drags on. It's annoying and it hurts. So I kind of wanted to see if the game would clear up. But here we are 6 months in, and some has changed for the better, some for the worse. And I kind of just realized that we may never get a working, perfectly flawless Battlefield 4, and you should never expect a perfectly working game from anything. But doable should be high up there on the list of possibilities. But anyways, I'm going to apply the shotgun buckshot method to you right now, guys. I'm just going to shoot a bunch of things at you, and hopefully a few of them hit and land and can mean something to you. So Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 had a few changes. Some of them were similar. Both of them had suppression-like symptoms. Battlefield 4 accidentally had problems with hit code, or net code and hit detection. Excuse me, hit code. We'll just call it one thing right there. It's its superhero name. It's the hit code. But Battlefield 4 was just kind of flawed with that. People have been upset about it. Now, Battlefield 3 had suppression. It intentionally meant to deviate the bullet from its original source. And I was a big crybaby about this. I was never a fan of it. I was the kind of guy that was like, wow, if I'm accurate enough and I'm consistent enough and I'm aiming at a guy and I'm shooting at a guy, guess where those bullets should go? At the guy. What a concept. So I was one of those anti-suppression guys that did not like the concept. I understand it, reflecting on it now. It made Battlefield stand out. It was a little bit different. It wasn't so generic like all the other shooters out there. But it also kind of wrinkled my panties knowing that I was shooting at a guy and I deserved to get that kill because, well, hell, I'm actually aiming at him. So at the same time, it's give and take. I understand why it was there, why it was implemented, but I also didn't like it for certain reasons too. Battlefield 4 accidentally has built-in suppression where you shoot at people and it doesn't hit. So, you know, we still haven't experienced a recent Battlefield game with, you know, accuracy and everything taken into account. But the big thing to me, and this is something I've sat on for a long time, something that I've just kind of nibbled on, and I've never really voiced because I've always felt that I always waited. I wanted to see if other people would really address it, and I've not seen that happen. And I was even more afraid to see that people were blind to this change and just unknowingly accepting it. Now, this change means a lot to me, and it really, really impacts Battlefield in my opinion. And to me, I think Battlefield is a tactical shooter. Now, it's not hyper-tactical, super, oh my god, my food is low, you can hear my tummy growl through the wall, so RPG it and shoot me in the face. It's not one of those Arma super realistic ones or anything like that. But it does have a tactical aspect. PTFOing was a thing. A thing of the past. In Battlefield 3 it might have been a thing. But tactical was a part of Battlefield. And it stood out between the classes. You have Assault, NG, Support, and Recon. Each of them have their own individual weapons. Each of them have their own individual equipment. That's what made those classes unique. I feel that any game that implements something like specific roles or classes is going to do a good job. You'll take Ghost Recon, for example. They have the Assault, Recon, and Support. Those classes are used as intended, and they actually have moves and abilities and devices that go along with those. They are to define what that class actually stands for. Support does support, and Assault does get aggressive. That's kind of how it works. And at the same time, you have other games like Insurgency that have pre-designated roles. Like, there are only 2 snipers per team, then there are assault guys, then there are, you know, bombers and all these other guys that have their own roles. That adds a tactical aspect to the game that is lacking in modern shooters nowadays. I think they took a massive steamer on Battlefield franchise with Battlefield 4 by adding in carbines and DMRs. At first, I was excited, and this is why I think, and this is also defends why I think they did it. At first, I was excited. I'm like, what? Carbines, recons can use it. Some of the best guns in the game are available for all classes. That's awesome. We're going to see more supports and get more ammo. We're going to see more recons and get more beacons. What it really did, in my mind, is kind of relieve some of the tactical aspects of the game. The moment you make guns available for all classes, the moment you make a game like COD. COD doesn't have any independent classes. You just pick a gun and go with it. You pick your loadout and your customization, you roll with it. Now, the only thing that makes the classes stand out are the equipment available to them. But when all the equipment, or when all the classes have explosives now, when all the classes have similar things, what's the point? I think Battlefield has lost its potency. I think that in Battlefield 4, they made a heavy mistake by deviating from what made the class so good. I feel that if you had to use a support class, you need to use a support weapon. I think they had it right by putting DMRs and bolt actions in recon. You may not have seen a lot of recons, but that's part of the thing. If you're going to use a recon class, you need to use the equipment designated for that. Nowadays, everybody's so spoiled. You can use any gun on any class, and it's not Battlefield to me anymore. That's one of my biggest problems, is it lost a bit of its tactical nature. I think that may be part of the reason why you don't see PTFOing anymore. Just think about it for a second. You can put an Ace 21 on any class now. So I could run around with ammo with one of the strongest guns in the game. I could run around with beacons and motion sensors and camp with one of the best guns in the game. At least when the guns and the DMRs were in the right class, you know, I can revive and throw down health as a DMR spammer. That should not be a combination ever in history. You know what I mean? So now that these things and these shotguns and all these things are available for different classes, it really does hurt the game, in my opinion. It just steps away from what Battlefield is. And in a game like Battlefield, where there are limited things that you can change to make the game better each year, I think they took a massive step back with this one. Now, on to other things. The equipment. I think this is going to tie into the other concept that I have, and this is about how they are making mistakes with the DLC. Now, I love Battlefield 3, and I think they did a good job at putting out the DLC. Now, the DLC was pretty unique. They added little bits and little bits. They did this and that. They brought in AC-130, which was, they made a few mistakes with that. It completely butchered Rush. They brought in a couple other aspects. They brought in weapons. They made the DLC awesome, worth waiting for, and it would expand the life of the game for a little while. Dirt bikes, great idea. Now it just seems like they're adding more and more and more, and quantity is trumping quality. Now, I love Naval Strike. One of the best, if not the best, DLC that I've experienced in a Battlefield title since I've been playing. I love the hovercraft that they added in Battlefield 4. Some of the guns are really solid, one of which the AWS is overpowered in my opinion. But honestly, I think they do a pretty decent job at DLCs, but I think they're also cluttering the game. And what I mean by this is too much of something can often be a bad thing. You know what I mean? It's just a little bit overwhelming at times. Now they're just running out of ideas. They're putting in anti-aircraft mines. What the fuck is that? What is that? What is that? Like, is this really where the game's become? Instead of being tactical, instead of being professional, instead of using guns, taking down armor, using standard traditional explosives, we now have tactical anti-helicopter waffle fryers? What is that? So, I think they feel that they have to add more to make the game better. And if this is the route that they are taking, it's actually going to hurt the game. We're only a few DLCs in, and they're adding in a couple things. Now, a few of them are good, but of course, when you try to innovate, when you try to bring in more and more things, there are going to be more and more factors, more and more flaws, because all these attempts are not going to work out perfectly. They did a good job at Naval Strike. The next one may not be so lucky. And that's just one thing that you need to take into consideration, is these DLCs are going to keep coming out with more maps, they're going to keep coming out with new stuff, but they're also adding in new equipment, new things that should not necessarily be in the game. But that's about where I'm at for the day. Let me know down below if you've ever thought about that. Have you honestly, to yourself, admitted in the comment section below, have you thought that Battlefield's not the same because they've changed the importance of the classes, that there are not really important roles anymore? Do you think it hurt the game? Leave your opinions on this commentary down below. I'm heading out, so we're going to circumcise this one right here, guys. Be sure to smack that like button, as it always helps Battlefield on my channel and the channel grow. I will catch you guys tomorrow with another video. Stay moist, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go get waffles now.